right, getting off that. We're getting off that topic. Let's go into something. We're gonna do something fun. Okay, one of you guys suggested this. The thumbnail alone has me interested. Okay, this is, I don't know who the hell this person is. I played D&D's most controversial expansion. Why I'm interested is the thumbnail says kinks and cantrips. And the cover art looks spicy. So I am intrigued, and I'm crossing my fingers like this guy. Please, please, please let this be what I think it's about. Please. Ah, you're welcome, Silverbane. I'm glad you're enjoying it. If you have time, I hope you stay and enjoy the live show, but I'm glad you're liking the YouTube videos too. Okay. Let's check this out. My fingers are crossed, and thank you, Leo. My fingers are crossed. Please let this be what I think it is.
Please don't get demonetized, please don't get demonetized, please don't get demonetized. So, a few years ago I was browsing away and I get an email from Kickstarter. It claimed to have found the perfect D&D product for me, an attractive elf tied up in bed.
Hello! Hello! Okay. D&D aficionados, I have a question. Is this a male elf or a female elf? I mean, I don't care either way, this is sexy as hell, but is this a male elf or a female elf? Zeb? No. One or the other. Is it a female elf? I was wondering because I know elves are very slender, but I didn't notice breasts. This is a female elf, okay. Sexy porcelain female elf tied up in belts. Oh God. Oh, okay. I want to know more. I want to know more.
Belts. That's also a book. Then I got interested because this book was asking for only $500 to fund and had raised over $50,000. Hot elf aside, that is crazy for a first-time publisher. So, I bought the damn thing! Welcome to the world of Adult Dungeons & Dragons 5e, where the E stands for emotional damage if you're a delicate little snowflake like me. This is Kinks and Cantrips.
Wait. Is this a novel? Is this like a fictional novel?
He sounds British. He's Beard's brother.
Okay, not every British person is related. It's a supplementary rule book and expansion. Okay. Rulebook, I don't think it's gonna go that extreme, but I am intrigued. I am intrigued. Okay, let's do this.
So, what actually is this book? Well, let's see how it describes itself. Before we start, let me be upfront about what you'll find in this campaign guide. Kink, ropes, chains, whips, submission, dominance, pain, pleasure, and a cornucopia of other—
Oh God, okay, I don't think— Dude, stop it, I'm turned on already. You don't need to sell me on this. I am all fucking in. Oh my God. I will take your entire stock. Oh no, Alistair. Oh no, I can go further. I can go further.
Sexual topics run amok through these pages. I also hope this book helps you explore and celebrate the concepts of kink while exploring and cherishing yourself.
Moisturize me. Moisturize me. You don't need— I'm well on the way to being very moisturized right now. Thank you.
That intro tells us two things. Firstly, this isn't a joke. Although this book is funny, it's serious. It's not a meme. It's not 50,000 Shades of Grey. Two, it aims to educate, and any D&D book with a philosophy is a good thing. One of the best D&D books ever made is Dr. Drolin's Dictionary of Dinosaurs, a book made by real paleontologists that gives stat blocks and history.
Oh, shit! That is fucking cool! I like this. Adding legit dinosaurs to D&D with full stats? That is fucking cool. Yeah. No, this is not made by Wizards of the Coast. Key point of note here. Wizards of the Coast has not made either of these books. They are third party. Which is why they're so fucking awesome.
And biology and behavior and ecology and academic references all about dinosaurs. It's designed to teach you about dinosaurs while putting them into Dungeons and Dragons. This book is awesome. The passion and the knowledge of the creators just drips off every page. Any book that sets out with a vision to educate and isn't just a random assortment of playable materials is automatically interesting. It doesn't mean it's going to be good, but you're guaranteed to at least get something. And in Kinks and Cantrips, the interesting stuff starts right away. The introduction has definitions of stuff like kink, consent, BDSM, knowing your limits, checking limits, the fetishization of bodies and cultures, safe words, hard limits, tolerance, words of freedom. But I know what you're really here for. Let's talk about the subclasses. And dom classes, am I right? Just a little submissive dominant joke for you there. This isn't really my area, but I think that was a clever joke. But before diving in, this book actually does something quite cool.
Wow. Right off the bat. The imagery. I kind of wish they'd gotten a better artist, though. I do wish that they'd gotten better artists. For the elf, I think that's an elf. I don't know. It looks like the elf girl tied to the bedpost and the girl tied to the bed with the angel doing breath play. I wish they'd been able to invest in better. No, Atanashi, but when the last book that we just looked at was that dinosaur book and the artistry in there was fucking phenomenal, and then going to this, I do wish they'd kind of had better artists. Oh, Lycan gotta go? Okay. Lycan, are you Lycan, do you have to leave? Did I miss it? Okay, have a good night, Lycan. True. I mean, Atanashi, I'm not saying like, oh, this is a terrible book. I'm just saying like, I wish they'd gotten a little bit better of an artist, or they could have been. Jack, either to the bed or to the post. I don't care. Either way, I'm good.
Cool. It introduces two new conditions, pleasure and pain, which operate a lot like exhaustion. When stuff happens to you, you might get a point of pain or a point of pleasure. If you get too many points in either pleasure or pain, it is bad. You are stunned for a round if you reach too much pleasure, for example. The amount of points you have in those stats also impact other things in the game. You might get a bonus to your damage rolls equal to the amount of pain you have, for example. If you go a full minute without gaining pleasure or pain, you lose them. So this really is a combat-focused mechanic which doesn't last long. Most of the...
Interesting. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, the Vox Machina footage was nice, but yeah, I appreciate the intention of it, but, like, masochists do not experience pleasure if they get hurt when they're fighting for their lives in legit combat. Like, with sadists and masochists, you know, it's very contextual, and outside of, like, established play, yeah. Well, no, I understand it's why pain and pleasure are separate stats, but he's talking about how it's affecting combat rules and giving you bonuses to combat stats, which is like, okay, well, that's that's ecchi, Robo. It's a totally different thing. Although, I mean, fair point to that. Like, Akano in combat in High School DxD gets, like, buffs if she, like, gets hurt in combat. It does give her a buff. I mean, there is a fair point on that now that I think about it.
Subclasses in this book interact with these mechanics, so let's dive into the meat and to veg of this book and see what they've cooked up.
Hey! Hey, you! Oh, yeah? Why do we never hang out anymore? Am I just your token British friend?
Airtime?
What? That's crazy. I've got loads of British friends.
Name one British person.
Randomized token. Randomized token.
No! No!
Create and customize monsters, player characters, and NPCs with Cheipeku tokens. There's hundreds of
Interesting.
tokens ready to go, with literally billions of variations you can create for any type of game and any situation. You can use it for
Interesting.
NPCs, craft your perfect player character, and all subscribers get 5 new tokens every week with accessory and color options. Change the frame, change the background, add icons, change the face, change the accessories, or just
Well, Clear, are you talking about me? You're just hoping to trigger my response, aren't you? Whoever submitted this clip, I'm thinking yes. Oh, is it too quiet? I can up the volume. The volume on the video could be a bit down. Let me up the volume. That could have been my fault, not his.
cycle through presets. You can even hit the randomize button to quickly generate multiple tokens to give every NPC in a group their own identity in seconds. Access hundreds of tokens with billions of variations and 20 plus new tokens dropping every month at cheipeku.com
Really, Silver Bay?
DnD shorts. Give every character the personality and life they deserve
I'm
with
intrigued.
awesome tokens from Cheipeku. Link in description. So, there are 29 subclasses for the core 12 classes in D&D Kinks and Cantrips, and there's a whole new class, the Escapologist, with 2 subclasses. Every subclass in the book is themed around some type of quirk. The Way of the Wick Monk is sort of inspired by melting candles on people. I've seen the video for All the Small Things by Blink-182, so this is a thing.
Wait, let me see if I can get a quick, let's see. The small blaze fire, okay. Okay, so the Wick Monk specializes in wax play. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. And then you've got Bring the Heal. Okay, that's clearly a Dawn. Okay, okay. Wax play is like I've done wax play once. And I think that the candle was used had too high of a melting point because I was more focused on dealing with the pain than enjoying the pleasure feeling from it. But I think that that might have just been like the candle had too high of a melting point and it was just too hot. I think if the person had used a candle with a lower melting point, I would have enjoyed it much more. This was years ago, Ralbo. This was some years ago. Yeah, you definitely need a certain candle for proper wax play because if the wax is too hot, it could be damaged, it could harm you, or B, even if it's not that hot, but it's too hot to be enjoyable, your mind will focus more on dealing with the pain versus enjoying the experience. And unfortunately, the candle that was used when I partook of it, it was not an appropriate candle.
On people. I've seen the video for All the Small Things by Blink-182, so this is a thing, or at least it was a thing in 1999. The subclass gets custom wax gauntlet.
Yeah, like this video where she just grabs a candle off a table and drips wax on him. That's where it's like, ow, that's fucking hot. That's not sexy. Yeah, basically your standard candle, like, okay, your standard Yankee candle, bad for wax play. Okay, so you know, if you have like a Yankee candle at home, don't use that for wax play. It's too high of a melting point and it will piss off your partner.
a thing, or at least it was a thing in 1999. The subclass gets custom wax gauntlets that enhance your strikes. If you hit a creature with 2 or more unarmed strikes on a turn, they gain 1 point of pain. You can spend key points to deal extra fire damage to a creature you've hit, etc. At later levels, you deal more fire damage and your reach increases. It's a pretty cool monk subclass all in. Maybe I'm just ignorant, but if you didn't tell me this was a kinky thing, I probably wouldn't even notice. But more on that in a bit. But my favorite bit of this whole book is this section here. Every subclass gets one of these, and it's just a real-life description of what the quirk.
Yeah, here it is. However, not all wax are created equal. Each one has a specific temperature at which it melts, and as such, one must use a wax which burns at a temperature lower than would cause skin damage. The height by which one drips the wax can also be used to change the pain delivered, for a higher falling distance will cool the wax more on the way down.
Inspiring the subclass is, and how to practice it safely if you want to. For example, it tells you to choose a wax that melts at a low temperature so as not to actually hurt someone if you want to do this in real life. Although getting wax poured on you is probably quite a niche desire, it's cool that there are health and safety discussions in the book. Another subclass is the Slinglash Ranger, which is all about paint and, to an extent, latex. As you can see...
Wait, what was that first part? Paints?
This is the Slinglash Ranger, which is all about paint and, to an extent, latex. As you can see, she's sort of painted this guy to the wall here. The mechanics of the subclass are pretty cool as well. You get a...
I'm sorry, but paint... This makes me think of Splatoon, not kink. But, like, the latex, that'd be different. Latex would be different. Maybe this could be latex. Considering she's using some of it as a top, this is probably latex, not paint. And considering there's like a living globule here. Let's see. And also I think it maybe deals with slime. No. This is I think this is latex. I think this is like not anthropomorphic. Like an animated latex paint thing.
Companion ooze, like how the Drake Warden get a companion dragon. You also upgrade a sling, which is a massively underrated weapon in D&D. It now deals 1d8 on a hit, and you can fire globs of your own ooze companion at enemies. The way it works is, you can take hit points away from your ooze familiar to add an effect to your next attack. I've never seen a mechanic like this before, and it's awesome. For example, at the cost of 5 hit points from your ooze, you can make...
Let's see. Luminous splatter, file, glob of... I'm personally covering it. I'll read it. Sire, glob of ooze in which you imbue a minor magical charge. Choose a spot on an object or structure you can see within 150 feet. The glob hits the point, creating a splatter of 2 feet in radius, which glows with dim light out to 30 feet.
One of my turn-ons is if the woman I am interested in is if she is at my level mentally. I am a very interesting man.
Yeah. Haha, Silverbane. You can instead target a creature with its action, in which case make an attack roll against the target's armor. Hobbling Wrap. Make an attack roll against a creature with a range or weapon. On hit, the attack deals normal damage, and if the creature is large or smaller, they are grappled until freed as the ooze wraps around their feet, binding them. A creature can use an action to make a strength check versus your spell save, DC, freeing itself on success. And then there is, before his hands are covering it, the gagging gloop. Make an attack roll against a larger or smaller creature within range of your weapon. On hit, the creature becomes gagged by the hunk of ooze. While gagged, the creature can only speak in unintelligible mumbles, whimpers. That was my addition. And cannot satisfy the verbal component of spellcasting. A creature can use an action to make a strength check versus a spell save versus DC. Removing the gag on success. Hit.
an attack roll, and on a hit, the target is grappled. It's a long-range grapple effect as your own ooze wraps around the enemy's feet. There's an Alabaster Warlock subclass, which is all about hypnosis and mind control. Pretty straightforward stuff. You can charm a humanoid of CR 1/4 or below and have them fight for you. And as you go up in levels, they get stronger. And look, there's a little explanation here on hypnosis and why some people might like it. Again, 29 subclasses in this book for the core D&D 12 classes. Some I really can't show, and we'll get to why in a second, but there's loads. They've also got like a drow fighter who exclusively uses whips. All the obvious stuff is here.
Chat, can you see it? Can you see this drow fighter? This is the pinnacle of it. Their ads going. Alright, I'm going to take this opportunity to move you guys out of the way so you can see this drow fighter. That is the pinnacle of a drow. Hell yeah. The leather skirt and bustier style top with the whips and the stiletto boots. I'm squirming, Xanax. I'm squirming. I'm gonna have good dreams tonight, I think. I had a character like this style before this book came. Well, I mean, yeah, like, whips is not an unknown in D&D. They can be. Leo, yes, that's what single tails are. BDSM whips use a variety of whips. You have, like, the riding crops, you have the floggers, and you have single tails. Single tails are basically bullwhips that you need to be very skilled at using if you're going to be using one in D&D play. Well, Cat of Nine Tails is basically just a flogger with only 9 folds. It's just that's what a Cat of Nine Tails is. It's the same thing as a flogger. It just instead of the traditional flogger, which has like 20 plus folds, it only has 9 folds, which are the tails. What? Longwolf, is it not obvious? Like, Longwolf, I love BDSM stuff. I love it. You know, I don't get into like the hardcore stuff. I'm limited to primarily bondage. That's what I'm limited to fundamentally. But I know about a variety of things in BDSM. Just because I don't partake in them, or I don't think I would necessarily enjoy them, doesn't mean I don't know about them. Like, my thing is, you know, tie me up, gag me, and tease me and torment me until I'm screaming. Sorry, did I say that out loud? So, yeah. But the single tail is used in BDSM. You just have to be very, very skilled at it. Oh, this is a mistake. This is a mistake. Nah, this time you done fucked up. Yeah. Oh, 5 before you walked in something good. Dwayne, it's a good way to start. Just make sure you're careful with. Anyway, we're gonna get back to the video.
If you're thinking, wow, that's a lot of dominating, aggressive-themed subclasses, you're right. There are also loads of support-themed subclasses, but I can't show you them. In this book, supporting your allies means really helping them out, Baldur's Gate 3 style. I do want to talk about...
So the supporting classes are the submissives. That's what he's saying, and whoever got a hold of the PDF can confirm. So that, yeah, the supporting classes are the submissives. They are the colored slave girls that are tied up and moaning and pleasuring their dominance. I'm guessing with some healing powers, some healing magic in there. Yeah. Okay. Too bad it can't show it.
The original class introduced in this book, though, the escapologist. Escapologists devote themselves to studying the survival of dangerous situations. They often specialize in lockpicking, unfastening even the most expert of knots, and enduring the unendurable. Basically, think of a mix of barbarian and rogue, and you are pretty close. You have a d12 hit dice, which is the highest possible in the game, plus heavy armor proficiency, which even barbarians don't get. I won't go through the whole class here, because that would take a whole video in itself, but there's a lot of features around goading enemies to attack you and reducing and avoiding damage. They've also got features that change depending on the type of armor you're wearing, which adds a ton of customization to an already flexible class. I love this idea, and I want to explore making a subclass based around something like this myself. There are also species in the book, and it's D&D versions of the things you might expect. You've got your furry race, of course, the fur folk, and it's actually pretty cool, because unlike D&D, which has animal-based species like Leonin and Harangon, the furfolk are designed in a way that they can be any animal. You choose 3 traits of your choice from a huge selection. You can grab flippers to give yourself a swim speed, pack tactics is here as an option, thick skin for +1 AC, tentacles for an extended reach and advantage on grapples.
Yeah, and they forgot like supreme knowledge of everything technological, and they basically run the world. That's an advantage that was neglected in this list. That's like a or maybe it's a standard feature and not a selectable one. That's what it is. I'm sure he neglected to mention that the standard feature is technological mastery, and they basically run the world. And these are just extra little stuff you could pick up. I'm sure it was an oversight.
Etc. It's like a more fleshed out version of the Simic hybrid from core D&D, and that's something you see a lot of in third-party publishing. Ideas that maybe in a WotC book you might get 2 or 3 choices, in here you get like 40. It's one of the reasons why when you start going third-party, you can never really go back. There's just so much more stuff.
Really?
Of course, there's nothing inherently adult about this species. Yes, it's obviously referencing furry culture, but you don't have to be a furry to play an animal themed race.
No, but I'm guessing it certainly helps.
Hope, as I've played many. There's also a cubeling, which is like a goo-themed species, a bit like a plasmoid or a humanoid gelatinous ooze, and a zicubus species. These are kind of like tieflings, honestly, but specifically the spawn of a temptation demon, which is like a succubus or an incubus, which are already creatures in core D&D. There's also some other species, and I can't show them. We'll get to why in a moment. There's also spells and feats in the book, and this is where things really lean into the silly side. There's a second level spell called Onslaught of 1000 Phalluses, for example, which summons a whirlwind of spectral objects that swirl around a creature. This is
No. Wait a minute. You create a cloud of phalluses or phallically shaped items made of semi-solidified aether around the target. The cloud follows the target for the duration of the spell, obscuring your surroundings. For any attacks the target makes, the creature they target is considered to have half cover. When you cast the spell as a bonus action, in turn you may direct a number of the phalluses to attack the target, ramming into them at great speed. To do so, make a ranged attack roll. Once on a hit, the target makes bludgeoning damage, takes bludgeoning damage equal to 1d8 plus your spellcasting modifier. If the roll is an unmodified 18 to 20, they also gain 1 pleasure as one of the phalluses hit a sensitive area. Chat, this spell literally lets you shove a dildo up your target's coochie or ass. You literally can shove a dildo up someone.
Oh my.
Yes. Uh-huh.
A creature. This is meant to be funny. I am certain this isn't supposed to be sexy or anything like that. There's also spells like Aftercare, which is a healing first level spell, or Epitome of Tentacles, which is...
Wait, what was that last one? Hang on. Aftercare, yeah, okay. Hang on. What the hell? Creeping encasement. Oh! Yeah, okay. That's what this is. Creeping encasement. Fling a tiny blob of stick material at the target, making a ranged spell attack on hit. The ball attaches itself to the target, begins to grow over the surface of the body. At the end of each turn, the target's turn, the blob expands and advances through falling stages, increasingly restricting the target as it does. Oh. Oh, that's in more than a few. Then, it's latex blade, but I've also seen it in some videos. Primarily of the Japanese variety, where it's like the magical thing is slowly restricting the victim. This one is obviously going with the latex concept. Oh my, oh god, this looks sexy. Oh god, that looks sexy. Not, what, yes, and real, and like non-animated as well, Kanito. Oh my, this looks sexy as fuck right now. Oh god. Okay.
Epitome of tentacles, which is kind of like a 9th level version of Evard's black tentacles from regular D&D. And once you're in the headspace that this book puts you into,
Yes, Zip Ties, I
Evard's black
am.
tentacles starts sounding kind of sus, doesn't it? As far as the spell mechanics go, yeah, they're D&D spells. The same is true for the feats and the monster stat blocks. They're just pretty typical D&D stuff with some quirky flavor. Which brings me to the biggest thing I kept thinking about while reading through this book. All of this stuff, mechanically,
is a thing,
is
Beats.
solid, considering I bought this book basically based on the, ooh, this is weird factor. The material is
Interesting. That's actually a really interesting visual, that artwork. It's kind of fascinating. Yeah, but it's just, like, I'm actually not looking this from a sexy perspective. I just think this is, like, really good art. The design and the style looks... Dragon, I'm the sub, not the dom. I'm sure you can find someone in chat that will dom you.
really good. It didn't need to be even half this good to sell, I reckon. If you renamed pleasure and pain to something like hope and terror, for example, and maybe tweak a few words here and there, this would kind of just be an ordinary D&D book, at least in terms of the written material. However, it can never be that because of the artistic material. Let's talk about it. Hopefully I've...
Oh. Is that... Oh. Oh, that's some extreme breath play. Wow. Yeah. Oh my. That is some serious breath play going on right there. Yes, McCurko. Oh yes.
Talk about it. Hopefully I've done quite a good job of hiding how heavily censored this video is. I can't show you most subclasses because this channel would get slapped with a ban faster than Chris Rock at the 94th Academy Awards. It's actually quite jarring to flip through the pages which have relatively normal D&D art and then boom, you've got booty in your face and a whole lot more. If I flipped over this page, this channel would be taken down, which in a way is a shame because it limits the reach of this book, but at the same time, it's what gives the book its whole identity. Of course, to the people who made this book and the people who are part of these online communities, I should imagine this is very tame art. I know we say this is weird, but it's only unusual to us. But at the same time, I am immature enough to find it funny. Even now, though, I'm not really sure who this is for. Is this something you're meant to play with your partner? Is this kind of like a foreplay thing?
Okay. Dude. Seriously, do you have any idea how many people that play D&D are also into kink? Do you have any idea how many people that play D&D have already involved kink in their campaigns long before this book ever came out, you sweet summer child? they will literally take this as another expansion book to their D&D campaigns and integrate it into their existing D&D campaigns because, goddammit, it's sexy as fuck. So yeah, this is not like something only for kinky couples to screw around with. Like legitimately, many D&D people will actually take this book, integrate it into their games, and people will fucking love it.
I have the PDF for the DD35 book of erotic fantasy. It's super sexy, just like me.
Leo. I need. Yeah, it is a legit. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could have a lot of fun with this. Oh, Jack, I don't need this book to think about how many different ways I can get domed and tied up and gagged, and teased, and pleasured. Sorry, what? Oh, sorry, let's keep going.
If so, that is very funny. Hey babe, are you in the mood? Good. Roll up a character. When I said I wanted to get you in the sheets, I was referring to the character sheets, yes. But jokes aside, from the way this book is presented, I believe the authors intend people to play it, and play it seriously,
No,
not just laugh about how silly it is. They wouldn't bother creating actually interesting mechanics and 250 pages of game materials otherwise. That said, just because this isn't for me, I am really happy that I bought it. The biggest crime any artistic project can be is to be boring, and this isn't boring. Whenever anyone comes around to my house and I show some weird D&D stuff, this is always the thing they're drawn to. It's a great conversation piece. I should also mention, this book is cheap, but that does come with a downside. Because this is cheaply printed by Drive-Thru RPG's POD service, some of the binding glue has spilled onto the pages on my copy. So basically, some of the pages are actually stuck together. It's not a huge problem. As you can see, they peel back just fine. They do leave this little mark though. However, it is way too funny not to mention that this book showed up with pages stuck together. That is objectively hilarious. I promise it was like that before I got my hands on it. The comparison I made at the start of this video to Dr. Drolin's Dinosaurs is fair, I think. Kinks and Cantrips has good information about healthy explorations of relationships, and I learned stuff. It's not judgmental.
Leo, I think it can be. It's kind of sideways of wax play. I think potentially it could be. I've not really heard of it. I mean, theoretically, you could do the whole thing of like using like Elmer's glue, letting it dry, and then peeling it off your partner. That's like, God knows, like that was fun to do as a kid. Like you don't want to have it anywhere near your face and orifices. But, you know, dripping it on the body like wax, and I'm not talking about like, I'm talking about like Elmer's glue. I'm not talking about like cement style glue. Definitely not. Definitely don't want to be using that. Is not used in play. I'm sure some people probably have, but generally speaking, glue is not used in the BDSM community. But like I said, like if you like drip Elmer's glue on your partner, give it a few minutes to dry, and then peel it off, that could be sensual, I suppose.
It takes itself seriously, and it is very clearly labeled as adult. I am also fiercely in support of any independent publisher. We all remember the OGL, where Wizards of the Coast tried to steal the right to create freely from this community. One of the fake excuses they gave for that was a moral one. They claimed that a billion-dollar company was the moral guardian we all needed to censor this hobby. So seeing someone publish something so outrageously family family unfriendly is a reminder that we are free. Nobody can tell you what you can or can't publish in the name of art and game design. So, do I recommend Kinks and Cantrips? Well, if you're curious about these things and want a non-judgmental and helpful resource to explore them, then sure. However, there are probably better resources out there that don't also include a load of irrelevant D&D content if that's the only thing you care about. But if you're both curious about this stuff and into TTRPGs, then this book is probably the best thing that ever existed for you. So, hell yeah. However, there is one final downside, right? And that's that once you've broken a taboo, you can't break it again. So, although this is interesting, I think it probably marks the last we've ever seen of... What? They made a sequel? It made $100,000?
What? Hang on.
They made a sequel? It made 100...
Oh. Sweet! Twice in one react chat. You really want me helpless and in a cage, don't you?
$100,000? Damn. But hey, if you want awesome D&D expansions that don't feature elven titties and butt cracks on every third page, you can grab them from the D&D Shorts Patreon. I create a monthly magazine of stunningly illustrated content on there, including new species, subclasses, rules expansions, and ready-to-play adventures. Your support on Patreon and
Silver,
through
he
YouTube
just said
memberships
that.
makes these videos possible as we struggle our way through the YouTube
It's not a kink,
algorithm.
Kanito. That's
Remember
just being
to
a
like and
person. It's just
subscribe,
being a
check
regular
out other
person.
videos on the channel, and yeah, that's all I got. I'll see you next time.
Okay, chat. How many of you are looking at getting this book now for your next campaign? Atanashi, I'm looking at you, gamer.